quit your job to become a full-time content creator. You're 49 years old. What was that like?
That was terrifying, but it was also necessary. I loved my job until I left it, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. The more adversity and the more you go through in life, the more you have to say, and the louder your voice can be when it's finally heard.
This summer, I interviewed Mike, a 50-year-old street artist who has figured life out, but at one point felt completely lost.
I was incredibly unfulfilled and kind of didn't even know what was missing.
Mike's advice has reached millions of people across our Instagram. It's relatable, it's real. He's also one of the most youthful 50-year-olds I've ever spoken to. Today, I'm sharing the extended conversation of his greatest life lessons and experiences that I guarantee will change the way that you think about life.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I am 50.
What does it feel like to be 50?
It feels the same to be 30. I expected to turn a corner and all of a sudden for the heavens to open up and me be filled with all of this knowledge. And I still have no effing clue what I'm doing. I still, despite being on this earth 5 decades, I don't know what I'm doing. But I think that's encouraging because then I can look at other people and be like, none of you know what you're doing either.
In general, nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, don't know what I'm doing. I care less about what people think though, and that feels good. That is something that kind of opened up a book to me, and I was like, oh yeah, no, everybody else is just caring about what they look like in themselves and what people think of them. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop caring about what people think of me because I know that everyone's just thinking about themselves. And that's a good epiphany.
I love that. What do you do for a living for people who don't know?
I make art now. I had a 30-year retail career, and that ended October 2023. That was a big chunk of my 30-year retail career. And I made art on my days off. On my 2 days off, I loved my job until I left it, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to be a full-time artist. And it's that feeling now where I was like, maybe I should feel like this all the time. Maybe I should be this happy making art and seeing my friends and traveling and hanging out. Maybe I should have been this happy the whole time.
Wow. How long was art, or how long has art been your passion?
For most of my life, I was creative. I was a creative kid. I was creative in college. I acted. I, did rudimentary illustration and comics. And in middle school, I played an instrument. But that kind of vanished when I became an adult and had adult responsibilities and had a retail career. And I kind of forgot about being creative. I don't think being the creative part of me didn't forget about that. It kept thinking. It kept, being restless in there.
What has been the value in your life since you've started incorporating that creativity back? I know a lot of people like yourself who become an adult, life gets serious, you start doing the acceptable, responsible thing, and you kind of forget to play, right? A lot of work, not a lot of play. How has life changed since you started playing more, being more creative?
That's a great question. I think I was incredibly unfulfilled and kind of didn't even know what was missing. I also was my own worst enemy, and I was convincing myself that nobody was going to like my art, or that since I didn't go to school for art, that I had nothing new to say about art or creativity until I just did it without fear. Your fear of looking stupid is holding you back. Look stupid. Again, nobody's looking at us. We're our own worst critics. And so I think just being fearless and learning to be fearless was kind of the thing that was the epiphany to realize how important being creative was to me. And I'm the guy who thinks everybody is creative. I think creativity lives in everyone. I think everyone has an imaginative spark in them that just needs nurturing and just needs them to be unafraid and to just create and then create discipline and create a skill and just do it.
Tell me about when you actually quit. So 30 years in retail, you quit your job to become a full-time content creator. You're 49 years old, right? More or less?
Yeah,
48, 49?
that was then, yeah.
What was that like?
That was terrifying, but it was also necessary. But I was getting freelance jobs for my art left and right, collaborations, residencies. I had used all my PTO for the year. And in an ironic way, my dad passing, he passed last year, and he was incredibly proud of my art. And I wanted to go back because one of the 2 trips that I would always go to see him was during this huge hot air balloon festival in Albuquerque. It's one of the largest in the world, if not the largest in the world, because the climate there is so suited to it. And I wanted to go to this because there was always one of the 2 trips I would take to see my dad was always during that hot air balloon festival. And I just really, really wanted to go out of PTO, out of, requesting unpaid leaves. It wasn't really an art project or a residency. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait another year to have this type of closure. And so it really was realizing, oh, I have a cushion. I can do this now. I can do the timing. I didn't mind missing another holiday season in retail. That was not a drawback. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. I think this is just the timing. And I think my dad would have been incredibly proud that in a way it was his passing that kind of prompted me to be a full-time artist. And I think there was something just incredibly poetic about that. And once I made the decision, it felt so scary. It felt great though.
What's the reality about us working in jobs that we don't like?
I would say that at my most unhappy, when I was toiling at a job that I didn't like in my past, it really was that promise of being a full-time artist or just somebody who creates full-time that kind of kept me going. And it also made me a better artist. Being hungrier and wanting more made my art better. I never want to be that tortured artist or that person who's like, in order to make good art, you have to suffer for it. I don't want to be that guy. There's a little bit of truth to that. There's a little bit of truth to the more, adversity and the more you go through in life, the more you have to say and the louder your voice can be when it's finally heard.
If you are someone in a situation like this, similar to Mike, feeling like this, and you want to be able to do things like this, this, and this, I highly recommend you grab a copy of our updated 2.0 goal setting journal. In just 3 parts, this journal will help you figure out your ideal life, turn it into achievable, specific, measurable goals, and then create the disciplined structure to track your progress over 6 months until your biggest dreams become your current reality. Now, because it's the holiday season, we're giving away over $1,500 of free bonuses and discounts exclusively to the first 100 of you who click the link below.
All right, back to the video. What is the type of art that you make?
I make typographic-based art in public spaces. I make them with fake flower petals that are spelling out quotes, either curated or original, in grass. Photos of LED letters in a forest, and they look very haunting and ghostly and beautiful. But I think the things that really took off were the balloon letters that I spell out quotes and phrases, some original, most are curated, in public spaces.
If you were to go back in time to the version of you that started putting content out there, and you know everything you know today, what advice would you give to that version of yourself to get to where you are today faster?
I wouldn't tell him a thing. The journey, I'm getting emotional just saying it. The journey is so important, and what I've gone through and the bad stuff too, that's made it harder for me to create, and the things, the obstacles that I've had, and the just setbacks that I've had. All of that has formed who I am today, and so I think it's super valuable to younger non-time traveler Mike to go through all of that. I'm I even thought about in terms of my age and stuff, because I am starting this artist journey and this content creator journey at relatively later in my life, and I found this quote, and you are not too old and it is not too late. And it's so simple, but it's this thing that I've held with me. That I needed to mess around in retail for 20 or 30 years before I figured my stuff out. I needed to explore on my own and learn what didn't work and what did work. So if I went back in time and saw myself, I'd just be like, I'm not telling you anything. Do what you're doing.
I love that. So you completely changed your life at 49 years old.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to someone who has the attitude or the thought in their head, is it too late for me? Am I too old to change?
I mean, just realize where that's coming from, too. Like, realize that a lot of that is coming not from yourself, but it's coming from people telling you that, or social media telling you that. Does feel like, and it felt like to me, like it's a losing game. Like you can't catch up to where other people are.
Yes.
And I think comparing yourself to other people on the internet is absolutely the least healthy thing that you could possibly do. Stop comparing yourself to strangers on the internet.
What's one thing that when you were younger you put a lot of importance on, and as you got older you realized wasn't actually that important?
The Bermuda Triangle. I really thought I was going to have to be really scared of the Bermuda Triangle growing up as a kid. And I was like, why haven't we fixed this, guys? Like, why is this still a problem? Weirdly, it's not a big deal as an adult. I don't think anything's going on in the Bermuda Triangle.
Just maybe nice beaches and everything.
Yes, exactly.
What is one truth about life you wish more people understood?
Be authentic and honest. I like hearing somebody's like regular, normal, rambling self and seeing, raw authenticity and vulnerability. I love seeing vulnerability. I lost my dad and my cat last year, and I love it when people can speak about grief openly in ways that makes me feel not alone.
And if you could give one piece of advice to anyone your age or younger on living a good life, what would that be?
Be happy, get lots of cats. That's really it. I think we're all on like a good track to live, hopefully, long, healthy lives. But yeah, that would be it.
Be happy, get more cats.
Exactly. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
So much.